That's correct. So, Forrest, you're playing opposite him in the game after you get back to you. He's supposed to what David, the full treasurer, is so good in England that they actually took him to Holland where he played for PSP. Am I right? No? Final, even better. Final, His career came back here, played for Ireland, went to the World Cup, played in the World Cup for Ireland, and 46 caps, 47? No, less than that. 46 caps they should have got. I'm not guessing them, I've got rough ideas of you. David employed his career through, he's come fantastic. He then did his degree at the end of his career in sports science. He's just finishing that now. He's come into Justice a couple of times to have a look about teaching. He started coaching the under-18s at Millwall and he decided that education is the path he wants to go. So he's now working at Dulwich College, which is one of the premier schools in the UK. So he starts out this year. We're delighted that Tom's come in to join us, and he's on my team in the football afterwards. So he just scored goals for fun. He also was the one who stood up to Roy Keane when we talk about statistical analysis that we have here. When Roy Keane, this may not be true, but stay with me. Roy Keane went through the statistical analysis of the team that they were about to play, including the weakness of the goalkeeper that David Conley had, and then put his hand up and said, that's a great assessment of the goalkeeper, but he got transferred 2 weeks ago. So that sometimes tells us where statistics can go slightly wrong and players' instincts are better on there. Kit Symons, fantastic friend of the ECIS. Anybody who was at the conference last year and had wine on the table, you know this man is drink. I'm glad I'm his friend and not his agent, because we'd be lost at this point. But Kit came in last time, did the keynote, he's coming back again, no problem at all, to do some sessions and to do this thing. He played for one club that's in the north, that's kind of a reserve side in the Manchester area, so had 3 seasons as captain there. Worked for Fulham as a player up through promotion, played for Wales 35, 37, something in the 30s towards the 36, and somewhere between. That's a good statistical average in the middle of those two. Played for them more recently, saved Fulham from relegation, got them within 5 points of the playoffs. Now, I think the greatest thing for Kit, he just missed out on one of the major championships as a player for Wales, but has been instrumental as the assistant manager of Wales of getting them to the Euros for the first time since 1958. So Wales are heading up there. There's a lot of work amongst the League Managers Association going around from there. Chris Paterson, another fantastic friend of these guys. If I ever get in trouble and we end up with a conference out of my money, I'll ring people and I'll never ring you again. So I did exactly the same. I rang Chris and he said, yeah, no problem, I'll come down. He's currently a skills coach with Edinburgh. He does some work with Glasgow, I think, as well, the 2 professional rugby sides up there, and the Scottish Rugby Union. And he still goes into kids clubs because he loves the game. In the cold and the wet and the snow, which is called the summer stay in Scotland, he works with them out on the field because he loves the game. He also works for BBC, and he predicts far better than I do when I text about who's going to win which game as we go there. So we welcome Chris back. He's unfortunately got to go back tonight. His greatest claim to fame is he survived university with Mike Johnston. Okay, so we'll take that one. Is that fair, Jan? Mike Bett, moving on. 379 caps for England. Mike Bett played England. What did we say? I got it wrong. I went 77, you went 33, I think it was. Somewhere in the middle, 50-odd caps for England as a basketball player. Played right the way through, and then did the incredible thing of coaching a team that won the league, that won the cup in the same season, moving on from a player, and did that very successfully throughout the professional career as a coach. At the same time as teaching at Tassis, we joined on the same day at Tassis, which was, I don't know, 39 years ago or something like that. It was a long time ago anyway. So we went from there. Mick also coaches the varsity basketball team in there. He also coached England. He also had a go at Great Britain basketball when Great Britain didn't call on superstars out of the NBA apart from Steve Butler. So Mick knows from there. Fortunately for English basketball, he's now become a director of English basketball with the responsibility to try to get English basketball back on track and get people playing. He also did a session for us last time where he predicted that the set plays of the US would become much more street ball as the Europeans started to play in the NBA, and the way that it would change. Mick's going to do a session on Saturday for us as well about how do we get the 3v3 game into the 5v5. The reason for this now as it's coming in is because I have a conversation with people about, are we over-analysing? Chris is a skills coach and said to me, I think, this is a conversation I found ages ago, I think I'm becoming part of the problem rather than the solution. because I'm doing such specific skills that I'm taking out of context. Kit's transfers when he was manager at Fulham tried to be determined by a bloke who was on the spreadsheet who thought that football was played in 4 quarters and he was going to determine which players came to play. Mick talks about the over-analysis of it. David's instincts didn't need analysis. If you put the ball on the box, it went into the back of the net. He didn't need people to analyse his every move in the net. He needed people to help him get better. So these guys are ideal now because in the educational world, as I said, we're driven by this absolute monstrosity called assessment. Over-assess and assess again and take it out. Your compare for today will be Mr. Mark Newman. So there's the introduction. So I'm going to turn this over to Mark and I'm stepping out.
I think this will facilitate itself anyway. So I'm just going to kick off straight with the question I'm going to straight to you, David. As you're coming into a school setting, how do you see you, with your playing background and being under so many different coaches, how are you going to implement skills and gameplay? You know, what sort of percentage would you like to see, whether you're coaching yourself in school or you're overseeing coaches? Where do you see that going?
I'm going to learn more from you than you will learn from me. If I'm coaching my players now, whenever I've asked them what they want to do, they say creative, fun, enjoyable, freedom. So basically drills are less enjoyable, so I don't really enjoy my players. When you get the same outcome, it's hard to know exactly. Obviously, we use GPS, we use all physical data, whether that's how relevant it is a separate thought.
Is that going into the school as well?
Well, that's something that I think will come into
Really?
Yeah. Because GPS now is quite reasonably priced to be honest. I think that's a set. We don't have a lot of money at all, so we hire eyes and we can hire them for quite a reasonable amount per year. So I'm sure that will come in.
Can I ask Pip? When you had sort of quite recently, how much analysis do you think is necessary, and do you agree with the side of analyse?
I think the analysis side of it is very important, obviously, you know, everything has got its place, and I think certainly there's different types of analysis that you need to do. So we look at opposition analysis leading to games, so if you've got information on the opposition, you sort of tailor your training during the course of that week to try and exploit their weaknesses and nullify their strengths during the course of your week. So you need the analysis on opposition, things like that. But on the recruitment side of things, it's now almost sort of stats and analysis almost becoming the be all and end all. It's a new thing that's come in. It's sort of trying to get the money ball type thing in football, and that's just not going to work. It is important, I think, for the analysis and the statistical side of the game and looking at individual players. That certainly plays a part, but you actually have to look a little bit deeper than that. And like I said, I found a bit of a problem with Fulham because that was becoming the be all and end all, and it wasn't just the stats. It would be we take off the stats, which in isolation then maybe not 100% accurate, certainly. But then these optic stats were then put into an individual's formula, and it certainly becomes almost conjecture then, and it's something just someone's opinion then. And if you're going down that road, it's a very, very dangerous game. So I think scouting is important, linking to the analysis and the stats, but ultimately the game's still the same game. It's evolving and changing, I understand all that, but it's all about people. Yeah. And exactly what Dave just said there, the biggest thing is engaging people, and certainly the kids, it's been proven, they need to enjoy it. It needs to be fun, there needs to be that element of it. I think it's the same for adults to an extent as well. You know, you need to make it fun, make it enjoyable. It's work, and they need to get the point across. Do it in the right way, you know, as well. It's very important.
A couple of really simple examples for me. Analysis is hugely important, especially in rugby where you have set plays from scrum or line out. You can pick up patterns of support, pattern review, or how to defend. Really important. But to me, it went down the road of being used in a wrong way. This sounds really simple, but I think there is a message in it. I was frustrated that the coach is using analysis to tell me what I should have done on Monday. My coach was a bit like, well, that's not what I watched. the professional coach, he said, you know, what was the power? You're playing England at the weekend, what was the power? You can't use your computer, sports code, you've not got it, no GPS, what I can do, to be honest, to be strong as skull, got to be lining it, to be taking bets. The answers you would come up with would probably be exactly what the stats would give you. You tend to trust the stats more, don't trust that instinct. Your understanding, your behaviour, your experience, you built up with the experience of your staff. You know, the reliance, not the reliance on it, but the trust seems to be far greater in an optical program rather than your experience.
Well, we play it every week.
For me, it sort of came in during my career. When I first started playing, there was anything, you know, there's no sort of feedback or analysis on games. And then it sort of started creeping in, probably with when I played on Tigana at Fulham. We started doing a little bit towards the sort of latter stage of my career. But prior to that, I hadn't really done an awful lot at all. Actually, Steve Cotton did a little bit. He was at Man City. Mark knows. Steve got going for like 6 week periods, only there for a short time, but he was probably the first one actually who started doing some analysis work on video and feedback. If they're short and concise and to the point and helping you rather than digging you out, they were constructive, they were good. I'll take something from it. If they go on for hours and hours, you end up seeing people getting, snaps in their chair, they've had enough. It's simple as that. It's got to be effective. What do you actually want to get out of it? Quite often it's the coach standing up there talking for himself. He likes the sound of his own voice.
You've got to build that relationship between coach and players, because when you talk about the screen comes down, the coach is putting the video up there to tell you what you did wrong more than what you did right, because it is that criticism level of coach, and the player hates it.
Yeah.
As a coach, you need it. And that's what's building that relationship to say, okay, I'm not dragging you down because I want to drag you down. I'm going to make you better.
What was brilliant, I went into Saracens, they really went into Saracens last year, and the way they do it, the players from the different units take the sessions themselves, the analysis sessions, and it was fascinating, it was really good. I thought it was a couple of, I'm not sure it's the same people every week get it, or they give it to different players within that unit, and they present the analysis of balls or like in that game, or scrums, or whatever it might be. And they present themselves, and that was really, really good. And then the big meeting they had at the end was hilarious. It was one of the funniest things I've seen in my life. It's a bit Mickey take, if you like, but they were playing Newcastle away at the weekend, but they got their point across, but in a real fun way. There was lots of laughing and joviality there, but they got it across. It was a really good setup, I've got to say. We were very, very impressed with it.
Those coaches came so much as well.
Sorry.
They get to do themselves and present, more chance of them understanding. Especially say at half time, it's really a crucial point to say international at half time. 10 minutes. Coach doesn't say anything for the first 10 minutes. First thing the medical sweep, like, is everybody okay? Who needs water? Who needs ice? Who needs taken off? Who needs lunch? And then the coach, good coaches that would mingle around and listen to the key messages between the units, between the players, and these key points will be taken care of, and they just reinforce them. And it's not really 2 things really. It's all 8 minutes, take 100 messages at half time, 2 things. Present themselves, plan, method of attention.
Just from an athlete's point of view, you mentioned obviously driven by coaches and whatnot. How did you go about sourcing information to reflect on your own personal performance? So that if it was stats made available, if it was video, or was it very much reliant on what other people were saying?
So teammates were big. Teammates and senior players, they've got a vested interest in making the best. A selfish way to do better. Therefore, they'll be better. So I took early on in the career, I took a huge learning of senior players and passing their skills. As well as coaches, but there was some really quite power again. Teammates saying, "Work on that," or "I can help you with this." So players, and the team sport, I know everybody does the team sport. Team sport is really, really important.
Could I just ask a quick question?
The analysis is usually important at the elite level, obviously. You know, you read about Danny Willett having a company analyse Augusta for him before the Masters, and he got data from that which they thought made a difference. Who knows? I have to mention Leicester City, my own team. They prepare their training surfaces the week before a game to match the training surface, the playing surface they're going to have on the weekend. But at our level, I think the basketball expert, you're the statistician, Nick. You know, basketball's a big stats sport. How does something like key motion play into the day-to-day analysis for students? And the software we use at TASIS and other schools use similar software. How is that playing into our daily lives?
Daily lives, what about that? I mean, video analysis for basketball is essential. You can't move without showing kids exactly, especially we all deal with kids. You show kids on a video screen what was going on in the game, what the options were, what their choice on that day was, and give them options of what should have happened. It's completely now. I remember going back into the 70s when they used to use videos of us playing at Junior International, and then when we sort of semi-pro with Chris Paterson, because we'd always have videos. So we go back 35 years as far as video analysis for basketball. It's always been there. You cannot move, I don't think. If you go to the NBA now, when these guys walk out of practice and prepare for the game, they've got DVDs or whatever it's given to them as they walk out. They have to take home and watch the photos coming up. It's, I would imagine the basketball probably is going to jump on a lot of sports in terms of what we use video for. We go back to key motion. It's an excellent platform to help kids out.
Just picking up on that point there, you said how you're analysing our players and showing where they've gone wrong, or was that? How much time do you spend on showing videos of people who've done something absolutely spectacular or fantastic? The individual that comes out. I mean, a classic case, 2 weeks ago, James Cipriani scored a try against Leicester, which was mercurial. He broke a very flat fence. Are we looking to show and present people with those kind of images rather than just say, this is what you need to focus on your defence, look how you attack, and showing them the good players opposed to just picking up on their faults or where they failed? Is that part and parcel of the coaching package?
Absolutely.
It is.
Hugely important. And not just saying a regular thing that happens all the time. Motivational videos made for individuals who watch them on the phone and do it again. They'll drip fed through the week. Emotional support, good coaches will get. It's hugely important. Not only football, I see clips of American football or football or American football, other sports, any iconic moments or cut moments will be shown off in the change rooms and just to get that positive mindset. Make it hard. I don't know what to say. In the rugby, you use positive energy a lot because of mentally got it right.
Similar, I mean, certainly our work when we were at Fulham was very similar. We do the post-match video, and we mix it up to the good play, the real positive stuff as well. Even in the defeat, we focus on a lot of our good play where we hurt the opposition and sort of reinforce the positive thing. I think it's down to the sort of environment and the mentality of the people that are the leaders at whichever club or school, wherever you are. A lot of it comes down from there. Now, certainly my style was I wanted to give praise, but you have to do something good to get the praise. False praise, I felt, is completely wrong as well. You can't dress it up. If someone's made a mistake, you've got to be honest about it as well. And our sort of mantra was trust, honesty, and belief. Those are the 3 things that we wanted to get in everything that we did. And we sort of kept harping on about it. We had those visual images around the club, and the boys sort of took this out of it, started had a bit of fun with it. But then they actually sort of bought into it, and it was really good and really powerful. And that again was reflected in the analysis that we did, and similar to Chris, the motivational videos that we get on sort of before games and things like that to show, reinforce good play and how powerful that can be.
Just a
question for all of you. It'd be interesting to know, in an average week of training, you spoke about freedom of players, they will express themselves. What percentage of that time, of that week training, was used where it's just gameplay? I remember playing a sport with Kevin Dalglish, I know who he is, but when he came back the second time, just recently, he found United, he said, what training did you know? So we just do more five-a-side now in training, just do more five-a-side. It'd be just interesting to see the difference in the sport and from your own experience of how much gameplay has been done in that week prior to the game.
That's a really good point because that's what they enjoy. So say our session today we did downstairs, we were playing, and in effect we, as participants, have the ideas of where to take that game, what benefits. So I mean, you've got the phone, which is one of the best feedback loops for you as a coach. So I record myself using the voice call, and then I listen to it back. I sent it to Ben Barker, who's coming in tomorrow actually, to critique it, and he did. He ripped it to bits, which is brilliant. Too much command, too much commentary, you know. You've got feedback from your coach all the time, just on the post. It's just plugging it, and you've got it. But one of the bits that came out of that is I asked my player, and he took the session a different way, not how I planned it, and it's a really good idea. Within the game, can you get outcomes, for example, you get a player goes the ball too much, how can you manipulate the game within the game, and also for the rest of the groups? I mean, I've got 4 young children, and one of them is very tough at football, but also who's so shy. I always think, what would I feel as a parent if I'm taking a session today, and I've got a kid who's really good, but also my daughter's there who's really shy and she's not so good. How can I get the same outcome for both, so they both get something out of it? I think that's a real challenge issue. I understand what I'm trying to say. It's all right for the great ones, that's great, but I also think it's just a bystander in the session. So it's trying to get the session within a game to get the outcomes for each individual. If you try and sell anything, all anyone's interested in, how does that benefit me? Yeah. So if I've got a player and he can't see the benefit in this session, I've got to try and sell him the benefit, or it benefits you in this way. You know, otherwise you just lose them in this session.
Was there correlation with your experience when we won this game today because the previous week we spent the majority of the time in gameplay rather than specific individual or part?
Yeah, I mean, there is a need sometimes to do certain things to get a certain outcome. And if you're after that, there's always a trade-off. It's up to you how you want to trade off. You know, I'll give you an example. I'm all coursed out. I can't do any more courses. I was on one yesterday. We had Manchester United in delivering, and they will do a certain drill because it has a physical outcome. So they play games, they'll do this, but actually they need to do a certain drill to get an outcome. It doesn't matter that it's a physical outcome. The other one you have to do this one, this one, this one. And they know that's tick-box for them for an outcome, whereas if you full gameplay, you're not very sure what outcome you'll get. So what you need to do is a lot of repetition for an outcome.
Getting that balance right, which is key, and it's quite difficult to do, and all coaches and managers are different. Like example, at Fulham, I've been at Fulham for a long time with Sean and that, and Roy Hodgson was there, and Roy was very sort of structured and regimented in the way he did his work back then. I think he's changed it now. Everything was very organised. Fulham was all about the team shape. You played against them. So it was really structured. Everyone knew exactly where they were, because that's how they work. There's a lot of stop, stand still, back four here, midfield got Danny Murphy, Dixon sitting in front of them there, never moved. The wide players were nice and narrow. Everything was about that shape, and the boys were like, oh, gamble, you know. But we didn't obviously did very, very well, got to the Europa League final. Roy left, Mark Hughes came in with Eddie Becky as coach. It was brilliant. Obviously, I've got very well with Roy, got very well with Mark Hughes and all this stuff. Completely different approach. There's a lot of 3v3s. small-sided games, buzzing around. Boys like to start, this is brilliant. But then they got to a stage then, suddenly they were craving some of the bigger pieces, the stop, stand still, the organisational work that Roy had done. Loving the small-sided stuff, but that was, everything was based around that. And then to a big meeting in the end, and I think we went third bottom box now, lost to West Ham on box now, went third bottom. Players had a big meeting, changed, and they got a balance then between doing some of the more sort of fundamental organisational stuff that can be a bit boring because you need to do an element of it, and then some of the short, sharp stuff. And finished eighth that season, you know, with a great second half of the season. So it's all about getting the balance. You need to give players a bit of what they want. You need to make sure you get a bit of what you need to get across as well. And sometimes it might be a bit boring for them, but you need to get that little trade-off, give them their game, match play, you know, at the right times, but you need to get your stuff as well, and balance is key, crucial.
Yeah, the balance is absolutely crucial. There's more closed skills in rugby and football. You know, starting point of scrum has to be right, technically, tactically, body positions, the line out call has to be right, the delivery, the flow. So there's a lot of kind of closed skills that need rote learning just have to be done under pressure. And then you need that game element. If you don't have a high skill level, you won't get what you're looking from out of the session of games. If you're, say, if it takes you 5 or 6 phases to score as try and average in rugby, but your skill level only allows you to get to 2 phases because you turn the ball and you drop the ball passes through training. You'll never get to that point of the rule which decisions have to be made in the game. So you can manage your training to set up a scenario, but you have to have a real strong skill level, I believe, before you can go with the game. And it's interesting because I've been having this debate yesterday actually. I went across academies from 60s to 20s, and we just have national teams, under 16s, under 18s, and 19s, and 20s, playing in the 16s. The more the time or the age or the skills that can come to peak, and then the games that can come about 18 or under 16s are really quite skillful. No games can still win. But 18s probably are really struggling game sense. Well, the 19s always got under 20s could apply the skill they've had in the game. But I think that everything has to be based on a good skill level. And to me that should be done both in schools. So if you come to, you know, if they are elite, I know I'm getting off track with elite player, if they are performance players, then the job as a national coach or age group level or international level for performance should be developed so you can say that you've got all the core skills to put you in the pressure to make a decision versus space. You run past and you get what defensive shape will be aligned in. You can't do that unless you do that.
I just do a quick two. Arsenal was really made for that type of question. You know, in a 2.5-hour session, you hit the 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, possibly 4-on-4, and then you spend the last 45 minutes 5-on-5, which is what the players want to get to. They want to run up and down, enjoy the game. That's what they're doing. And the drills are your way of training them. The game is what they're aiming for. But if you're not with your set the enjoyment of getting out there and playing, is what they're looking for. You can over-drill these guys. Arsenal's ready made for exactly short side.
Just really quickly, international level, the individual skills done on the road. So all, and at 6 Nations Week, you might look at 2 training sessions. So travel day or recovery day, you know, a day in recovery, and a couple of days after the day, just smash that. So you have very little time to coach. So that's all team strategy. Anything you need to work on individuals done in your time. Very responsibility. The goal kicking, the line and throw and the passing, that's what the good goal or player safety.
I'm going to try to address all 4. We're all in an international school setting where mostly season-based, and I'm talking about coaching-wise and after-school teams, regardless of the sport. I find it hard, or my assessment of all our athletic programs I've worked with, it's been the motivation for the kids has been it varies. It starts beginning of the season because they're very excited to make the team. There's a tryout there, and there's that sort of motivation. But it becomes very social. And no matter what we do, we use a lot of analysis. We use a lot of we use a lot of work where there's a lot of games happening, and then we use a lot of work where there's a lot of skill development. But our seasons are short. I think I speak for most international schools. It's very hard to motivate kids after the tryouts happen. How would you see that fixed? Can you have a fix it now, that kind of thing? But how do you see that in students who are, motivated to step in? I want to be on the basketball team. Okay, they make the cut. Their name is on the list, and then after that, it's downhill. No matter what you try to do as a coach. And I've done extra sessions, and I've done, I work with individuals, and I work with this and that. But it's just, it's a social. You can't look, I'm on the basketball team here, and look at me. He walks in the hallway, and they're like,
welcome to my world.
Yeah. Anyways.
As a professional as well, and it shouldn't be. Unfortunately, it is. Before I became first team manager, I took the under 18s and then the under 21s, and get these young kids through. We were just talking myself and David earlier. Young players would be given an opportunity to be 2-year scholarship at a professional football club. It should be absolutely working their socks off every day, every minute of every day. It's a brilliant opportunity. But after these kids think maybe it's a divine right and they struggle, and it drives you mad. It literally does. But what we try to do with the first, I did with the under 18, but even at first team level, is what is your drive? Now, what motivates you? Why do you want to do well? Now, my big thing that I try to get across to the group, the whole squad, the worst thing, the biggest crime in football is to let your teammates down. And that's not by making a mistake. There will be mistakes, and that's not a problem. It's by not trying, not putting the effort, the application. And if you can try and create that environment, that is the worst thing you can do, is to let your mate down here, then people are more likely to stay motivated, because that's their driving force. I'm not going to let these boys down. If you can create, which is not easy to do, and people talk about creating an environment, and it's so important, but it can just be, we had it at Fulham at one stage, where the club values on the coffee cups. Brilliant, that's lovely, that's something you can see every day, but unless you're actually going to live those values and they mean something, they're just words on a coffee cup. But if it becomes your way of actually doing things, and you can get people to buy in, brilliant, it becomes so powerful and so strong. And ultimately, give everyone a chance, give everyone a second chance. If they're not going to do it, get them out.
Sorry. No, just relating to that, going back to when you were a youngster, which wasn't that long ago, so you don't remember this. What drove you? Why did you end up playing in the World Cup from kicking around on a park, or bouncing a basketball or playing rugby ball? What was it internally that made you go through the phases that you, or did you just turn up and kick about?
You just go back to that question. If you show, it's hard to, but if you show them those players who drop out the same care, so I'm sure you do, as the ones that make it, the top and the bottom. I think that's something, if they get the same level. So you might be the best coach, but do you take the worst team? Things like that. The worst coach taking the best team. I don't subscribe to the fact that the best coach takes the best 11. I'm not sure that's totally right. So when you get more buy-in from those, or you bring them along a little bit more, because I knew when I was a grad, if I felt the coach didn't care, or he wasn't watching me at training, then I wouldn't be interested either. That's something. Because not everyone's got it intrinsically, and even if you do have it intrinsically, it wanes, and it goes, it can change, because we're all just human, aren't we? It's hard to be really enjoying it, But if you know that they care, they really care, even if, for whatever reason, you still care about them. Okay, you might lose them for a day or two, but hopefully you pull them back, That's what I think. Because not everyone's got it intrinsically, are they? They get bored, or don't enjoy it, or trouble at home, their parents, they miss training, they don't come to school. They have it all the time. Those parents are in their ear, and you can tell they're not enjoying
Pro B was probably few to failure. I want to be as good as possible be. But I'm certainly not at the end of the day. Family was a massive influence. PE teaching my bed. Still, the biggest influence was PE teacher. Bob Moffat at school. Incredible. And the coach went on to go professional as well. But he wanted to make you better. So his influence and his persona to make me as an individual better, as well as everything else, was what can help shape me. Yeah, fear of failure, which is maybe a negative thing, but I didn't want to fail. I probably played the best rugby towards the end of the field, which was just a result of always continuing to improve. Sometimes see some of these old videos and games and they're on the and just tell them that being hard. Looking back how bad it was.
All I want to see is improvement. I think teaching or coaching in the curriculum, extracurricular, I'm just looking for improvement. You know, when I pick up a rugby team in November, half of them will never have played rugby before. I want to see in March them enjoying the game, having better skills and just improving. I don't care whether they win or lose. I just want to see them having fun and really improving as people and as athletes.
I think the problem is, that is success. But
Correct.
it's how people define success. People think success, you've got to be the team that wins everything. That's not.
Well, you have at the professional level, yeah.
But even what is success? If you take a team from, say, for example, you take a team who are bottom of the league 1 point after 7 games, and you take them to middle of the table, that for me would be success. You might get sacked for it, but you might. Continue to improve, you'll end up where everyone wants to get eventually, but quite often there's a certain level that you can go to. You keep improving, that's brilliant, and that's all you can want as a coach, from looking at your individuals and then looking at your team. If that's happening, then I think you're doing a great job. I mean, not everyone can win the title, the cup, the trophy every year. If you keep improving your individuals, keep improving your team, I think you're doing a good job.
Guys, we have time for one very quick last one.
In your experience, how did you find that improvement? Like, who decides the criteria for that if you're a player, that improvement has taken place, and are they involved in that process?
Or as individuals?
Yeah, as an individual, I know it's like a results-based business, but as an individual, you say, how do I know as a player that I have improved? Is there have you experienced it? Is there set criteria? Do you set goals? Do you sit down at the end of the season and say, have you hit those goals? Who decides that you've met those criteria? In our sort of environment, a lot of us write reports, a lot of us anecdotal.
I mean, certainly, I'm sure you did it at Millwall with the younger players. We do like goal setting and short leading goals and extended reviewing, getting them in. Now, some of it can just be a tick box exercise, or it could be done properly, and some will benefit from it, some people won't. Some players, some champion players won't really take that seriously and won't get any benefit from it. You can give it to them and try and help them and try and educate them and encourage them, but some won't take it on board and won't use it, some will. The ones who do it can be very, very successful, and it's a great way of them to get feedback and actually see how well they're doing. Ultimately, you end up getting a pro contract if you're successful and do well enough with the younger players.
I mean, sometimes you screenshot and you've got to fill the game. I screenshot matches, and a few matches down the line, a player has improved by, for example, scanning the receipt. Releasing the ball, or asking his teammates, real challenge, has improved. I've actually seen it visually down.
the All Blacks are definitely cultural as well. They believe the culture that sets, determines, or underpins all of that. Number one is the culture. So all players will be assessed in 4 pillars. See progression year on year.
Guys,
Similarly, how you guys report.
On that rugby, we did rugby there. So we do something similar to football, but we time it. So say you want to get to 50 passes. So we did 100 passes, and at the start of the season, my players got to 100 passes. I think it was 7-3, trying to get it back. It took them nearly 8 minutes in July to get to 100 passes. Okay, we do it every week. Okay, now we're down to 4 minutes. So they can pass the ball, receive the ball, move the ball quicker. And it's not written on a board, you know, but we've got 4 minutes 40. Okay, your challenge is can we get 4 minutes? Hopefully you can assess as you go. Trying to be creative without being totally scripted.
great stuff, Josh. Time is against us. We have to move. Thank you so much for your time. Before panel, how many still around this afternoon? So you can still feed off Dave around the afternoon. Otherwise, it's great to run next.
What are you doing?
Straight to the bar of the coronavirus. Guys, got to ask if we can. We've got a presentation here that started 2 minutes ago. So if we can just get slip shifting, that would be great.
It fell down at some point. I set it back up. I didn't know it had been down.
Knocked it down,
Somebody
man.
noticed, told me it was down, so I don't know how much you actually got, but still